There are places on Earth that send chills down your spine, lands that seem to hold an invisible power, where darkness lingers longer than it should. Some merely give a strange feeling, but others truly feel like stepping into a nightmare. Imagine standing before a colossal wound of the Earth, where fire never dies. The air thick with the stench of sulfur and smoke, a living reminder that this planet is still breathing, still angry, still restless. Scattered across the continents are these infernal scars, vast hellholes that gape wide, swallowing both light and reason. They are places where the boundary between science and myth becomes blurred. From methane-spewing ice craters in the Arctic, to deep sinkholes filled with strange life forms, to fiery pits that have burned for half a century, all echo the ancient fear that something beneath the Earth's crust is watching, waiting. And yet, despite the fear, humanity cannot resist its curiosity. We set up cameras, lower ropes, send probes deep below, not only to seek answers, but to touch the mysterious heart of the Earth itself. Welcome to Beyond the Known. In this journey, we will descend together into the planet's most terrifying abysses, to uncover what these hell holes truly are, how they were formed, what secrets they hold, and even what bizarre forms of life might exist within them. So, what exactly is a hellhole? From a scientific perspective, it is a term humans use to describe extreme geological structures, enormous craters, deep sinkholes, or toxic gas vents so fearsome that they have earned names like Gates of Hell, Well of Darkness, or Portal to the Underworld. They do not belong to a single type of landscape. Rather, they represent the ferocity and unpredictability of our planet. Whether born of fire, ice, or human error, each hellhole tells a story, not of destruction, but of raw power and the endless transformation of the Earth. These are the places where the skin of the Earth has cracked open, exposing secrets that perhaps were never meant to be seen. Deep below, amid scorching heat and poisonous fumes, lies a reminder of just how fragile our surface world truly is. As we venture deeper, you will understand why explorers have risked everything, their safety, and even their sanity, just for a fleeting glimpse of what hides within the abyss. Our journey into the underworld begins in the Karakum Desert of Turkmenistan, where a colossal fire has been burning for more than half a century. A pit 30 meters deep and 70 meters wide has blazed continuously since 1971, a wound on the body of the Earth that has never healed. Despite countless human attempts to extinguish it, the fire endures. Legends make the place even more haunting, as locals say that giant spiders dwell inside the pit, drawn by the heat of this eternal flame. Welcome to the Darvaza Crater, or more famously, the Gates of Hell. The name is strikingly accurate. Darvaza in Turkmen means gate, and beyond this gate seems to lie another world entirely. Imagine a vast sinkhole erupting with fire in the middle of the desert, the ground glowing like a furnace for lost souls. The air trembles with heat, the flames roar at 1,000 degrees, and they have never stopped, burning every second, every day, for over 50 years. From kilometers away, its orange light stains the horizon red, both terrifying and mesmerizing. Today, the Gates of Hell have become a famous tourist attraction, drawing about 10,000 visitors a year, people who stand on the rim of the crater, speechless before nature's terrifying power. It is said that in the 1970s, Soviet geologists were drilling for natural gas when the ground suddenly collapsed, revealing a massive underground gas chamber. To prevent poisonous gases from spreading, they decided to ignite it, believing the fire would burn out after a few weeks. But never did. Despite numerous efforts, even official declarations from the president of Turkmenistan to close the Gates of Hell, the flames continue to burn bright. Strangely, its true origin remains shrouded in mystery. Most documents trace the event back to 1971, when scientists accidentally drilled into one of the planet's largest natural gas basins, the Amudarya, stretching across Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan. This region holds the fourth largest natural gas reserves in the world, an ocean of methane that feeds the eternal flame. Even today, satellite data shows that the Darvaza Crater still releases between 1,000 and 3,000 kilograms of methane every hour, an invisible stream silently flowing into the atmosphere. It is not only a breathtaking yet frightening sight, but also a warning, a reminder of the fragility of our planet and the consequences of awakening forces beyond human control. Natural gas and methane may not be toxic, but they displace oxygen, making breathing extremely difficult, not only for humans, but also for the living creatures of the Karakum Desert. Shortly after the gas chamber collapsed, many animals in the surrounding area began to die, and thus the Gates of Hell were born. It was the deadly result of unstable geology, layers of sediment filled with gas, and human drilling cutting through them like a flawed tattoo. But was that really the case? To this day, Turkmenistan has no official records of the incident. One of the things that makes this crater so captivating is also what makes it most perplexing. There is almost no clear information about it. The reason is simple. In the post-Cold War era, everything related to natural resources was considered a state secret, a matter of survival amid global tensions. In other words, whatever they discovered, they had absolutely no intention of sharing it with the world, especially the West. Ironically, it took 3 decades before a Westerner became the first to lift the veil on this mystery. Explorer George Karunis was the first person to dare descend into hell in 2013 during an expedition organized for National Geographic. Although he traveled to Turkmenistan, he was unable to obtain any verifiable information about the true origins of the crater. Contrary to the widely circulated story that the Soviets set it on fire, Karunis learned from 2 local geologists that the crater actually formed in the 1960s, releasing gas and mud for many years, and that it only ignited during the 1980s. But no matter who or what had caused its appearance in this raging inferno, all those questions had to be set aside, for Karunis was about to take his decisive step, descending into hell. Imagine that feeling, being the first human to enter a place saturated with toxic gases, where flames capable of burning flesh in seconds dance all around you. And, even more terrifying, facing the total uncertainty of the unknown. He wore a special Kevlar suit, heat-resistant ropes, a self-contained breathing apparatus like a diver's, and a heat-reflective suit resembling an aluminum armor to deflect some of the heat. Karunis described the sensation as feeling like a potato roasting in an oven. Yet he did not back down. His most important mission was to collect soil samples from the bottom of the crater to determine whether anything could live in what was considered a literal hell. Quickly but cautiously, he managed to collect several samples before ascending back to the surface. The infernal heat nearly caused him to lose consciousness, but he made it out safely, completing the most dangerous expedition of his life. The samples were then handed over to microbiologist Dr. Stephen Green, a member of the team, for analysis. The results left even the most optimistic scientists speechless. There was indeed life in hell. But not in the form of the giant spiders from local legends. These were far more astonishing. Thermophilic bacteria capable of surviving amidst toxic gases and flames reaching thousands of degrees. These microorganisms consume methane, live, and reproduce in an environment where no other form of life should exist. They are extreme beings known as extremophiles. These organisms do not merely survive, they thrive at the very heart of the flames, turning the Darvaza Crater into a kind of natural, biological reactor. And what about the legend of spiders falling into the fire? Locals say that large camel spiders, reaching up to 15 centimeters in length, are attracted to the glowing light. They chase the insects that flutter around the crater, like moths drawn to a flame. But their fate is tragic. Many fall into the pit and are instantly consumed. Thus, if there truly are spiders inside the Darvaza Crater, they now exist only as the ashes of a legend. So is this really the end? Humanity has come all the way to the gates of hell and returned to tell the story of a graveyard filled with spider carcasses, where microbial life persists amid a sea of fire, and where methane continues to burn day and night, as if it were never meant to die out. But not quite, because it seems that the flame inside the gate of hell is finally beginning to fade away. Sorry if that disappoints you, especially if you've grown attached to this strange place, but it seems that the end is near. In a world increasingly aware of climate issues, this outcome feels inevitable. The government of Turkmenistan has repeatedly promised to take action, although most of those promises have remained unfulfilled. However, it now appears that nature itself has taken the lead. Researchers from Turkmengaz, Turkmenistan's national gas company, revealed that as of June 5, 2025, the flames of the crater had visibly weakened. According to data presented at a scientific conference, the intensity of methane-fueled combustion has decreased significantly. The company's director, Irina Lurieva, stated that the flame has shrunk to 1/3 of its original size. She also revealed that Turkmengaz had drilled a series of wells around the crater to capture methane before it escapes into the atmosphere. Once, the crater's glowing red light could be seen for several kilometers around. But today, only a faint glow remains, she concluded. Locals and authorities in Turkmenistan consider this good news, as the burning crater has long been controversial. The continuous combustion of this precious resource is viewed as both wasteful and dangerous. It therefore seems that the gate of hell is finally nearing its end, closing the chapter on one of Earth's most extraordinary spectacles, a true doorway to another world. When the last ashes cool, no one will know what remains here. But surely, like the creatures entombed within it, the secrets of the Darvaza Crater will vanish with the flame. Yet, as this story ends, our journey continues, from the gate of hell to the gate to the underworld. For deep within the icy heart of Siberia, something even more terrifying awaits us. Every story on our planet begins with a seed of curiosity. And behind every discovery that inspires awe or chills the soul lies a vast forest of science still waiting to be explored. Now, let's begin our journey to the second hell. This crater was long kept secret from the rest of the world. It was first photographed by a spy satellite in the mid-1960s, but it was not until the 1990s that it was recognized as a remarkable geological formation. For 30 years, what could possibly have been hidden there? At the time, perhaps nothing special. But today, what was once a barely visible fissure has become a gigantic tadpole-shaped abyss, covering more than 800,000 square meters, 50 meters deep, over a kilometer long, and it continues to expand. Between 1991 and 2018, its surface area tripled. Not only is it immense, but the place also emits terrifying sounds. Geologist Julian Merton from the University of Sussex, United Kingdom, describes that in summer, when the ice melts, the sound of water trickling down the walls is sometimes interrupted by rumbling landslides that echo all around. These eerie sounds have frightened many residents of Yakutia, who no longer dare to approach the site. Guided by a deep spirituality, the Yakut people believe in three worlds: the upper world, the middle world, and the underworld. To them, this frozen chasm is quite literally the gateway to the lower world. That is likely why the site was kept secret for so long. And, ironically, the gate to the underworld is neither a volcano nor the impact of a meteorite. In reality, it is a gradual collapse caused by the melting of permafrost, the largest phenomenon of its kind on the planet. The Batagaika Crater, shaped like a gigantic horseshoe, stretches nearly a kilometer long, over 800 meters wide, and continues to devour the Earth like a hungry monster, revealing layers of ancient ice buried for tens of thousands of years. At the bottom of the pit lie ice formations that are at least 650,000 years old. But what exactly opened this path to the underworld? The most terrifying answer is humanity. When the region was heavily deforested for mining and exploration, heavy trucks destroyed the thin layer of surface ice. And thus, the catastrophe began. The trees used to be a thick, warm blanket that protected the land from erosion, but then humans cut them down for mining. As the vegetation disappeared, the ground was left exposed to the harsh sunlight, causing the permafrost underneath to melt slowly over the years. Ironically, this completely changed the thermal balance of the entire area. And yes, the underground world below was now exposed to the light. But this was a double paradox. As the ice melted, the soil it contained was also damaged. The soil softened into mud, collapsed, and was washed away by the river with the melting ice, creating a giant depression. And giant is no exaggeration, because the speed of this process was astonishing. According to a 2024 paper published in the journal Geomorphology, between 1991 and 2018, the crater retreated an average of 11 to 15 meters per year, and in some places as much as 30 meters. The permafrost was once 200 to 500 meters thick, accumulating over hundreds of thousands of years, and during that time, it absorbed and stored carbon, something it is very good at. About 15% of the land area in the northern hemisphere is covered in permafrost, which holds up to 1,600 billion tons of organic carbon, twice the amount of carbon currently in the atmosphere. But when this permafrost thaws, all that carbon is released. The Batagaika Crater, also known as the Siberian door to hell, has released an estimated 169,500 tons of organic carbon, or 5,000 tons per year. The root cause is humans. We've cut down those beautiful forests. Human-caused climate change has taken a heavy toll on the region, with the Arctic now warming 4 times faster than the global average. The small man-made trough that was created in the 1960s is now the most visible example of human-caused climate change on Earth. The collapse is happening faster than any similar geological event in Siberia in the last 10,000 years. In total, the Batagaika Crater has lost about 34.6 million cubic meters of ice and soil, leaving a permanent man-made scar on the planet's surface. Unlike the Darvaza Crater in Turkmenistan, this crater is still expanding and shows no signs of stopping. The reason it continues to grow will not go away, as global warming and Arctic warming continue to intensify. However, amid the tragedy, there is a glimmer of hope. When the underworld is opened, we have the opportunity to see the past of the Earth. The Batagaika Crater, by chance, has become a time capsule that has existed for 650,000 years, revealing the oldest ice layers on the planet. Thanks to that, scientists have not only studied ancient climates, but also discovered incredibly perfectly preserved creatures. In 2024, Russian scientists discovered the carcass of a baby mammoth weighing more than 100 kilograms, preserved intact in ice for 50,000 years. They named it Yana. The elephant was only 1 year old when it died. In 2018, people found the carcass of an extinct foal named Lena, still with skin, hair, tail, and hooves, and then it was found the oldest sample of liquid blood ever found. They also unearthed cave lion bones, Ice Age wolf skulls, and countless other mammoth bones, teeth, and tusks. By peering through the curtain of hell, scientists have had a unique opportunity to explore ancient ice and better understand the relationship between climate and permafrost from the Middle Pleistocene. One day, when the permafrost depletes and reaches bedrock, the Batagaika pit may stop expanding. But until then, the underground world is alive, breathing, and continuing to reveal secrets that have been buried for hundreds of thousands of years. And now that we've stepped through the gates of hell, perhaps it's time to go deeper into hell itself. Welcome to Yemen's Well of Hell. Located in the vast desert of Al Mara province, near the Oman border, it's a deep black hole in the brilliant yellow sand. The well's mouth is a perfect, round, pitch-black hole, about 30 meters wide. No one knows when it was created, how it was formed, or what lies beneath. Locals say it's where jinn are imprisoned, souls in Arabian mythology banished to the depths of the earth. Many people don't dare go near it for fear of being cursed or sucked into hell forever. Those who do go near it say they smell a foul stench rising from the depths, adding to the mystery. Over the years, there have been countless attempts to explore it, but no one has ever reached the bottom. On September 15, 2021, a group of 10 brave explorers, led by geologist Dr. Muhammad Al-Kindi, became the first people in history to reach the bottom of the well. They used a pulley system. 8 people were lowered down, while 2 remained at the mouth of the well. After descending 112 meters, they reached the rough ground, full of stalactites up to 9 meters high. And in that dark, damp, dangerous place, they discovered something extremely magical. The cave pearls, also known as cave pearls, are perfectly round calcium blocks created by nature over thousands of years. Water drips regularly into the deep hole. Each layer of minerals adheres, polishes, creating sparkling pearls with beautiful colors. But the magic does not stop there. At a depth of about 65 meters underground, the expedition team discovered cool water flowing from the rock crevices, forming small, sparkling waterfalls where lush green algae grew around, bringing vitality to the cold darkness. What was more surprising was that inside the Barhout Well was hidden a separate ecosystem. Creatures such as snakes, frogs, beetles, lizards, even bird carcasses, perhaps falling from above, and all were found, partly explaining the strange smell that the locals often mentioned. In the deep, dark crevices, bats may also live, and that low oxygen, acidic environment is the ideal place for extreme creatures to survive, creatures that can only live in the harshest conditions. So what is this place after all? Science has a clear answer. Barhout Well is actually just a natural karst sinkhole formed millions of years ago. There are 2 common types of sinkholes on Earth: collapse and subsidence. A collapsed sinkhole occurs when a void in the underground rock expands to the point where the roof is no longer strong enough to support the force, causing the entire surface above to collapse into a large hole. A subsidence sinkhole forms more slowly, as surface soil slowly falls into small crevices below until a deep hole forms. Both require a special type of terrain called karst, layers of carbonate rock like limestone or dolomite, which are easily dissolved by water, forming caves, underground streams, and natural sinkholes. The team spent about 6 hours inside the cave, surveying it, and they found no trace of humans or human-like creatures ever having set foot there. The entire landscape inside was still pristine, stunningly natural, a world that had never been touched. When exploring such giant craters, many of us probably expected to see something beyond our understanding. Maybe traces of alien life or evidence of a spiritual world hidden beneath the Earth's crust. Because it's hard to believe that amidst the peaceful beauty of this blue planet, there exists such terrifying gates to hell without any supernatural hand creating them. However, the truth makes us ponder. The real culprit is often humans. The hells we see today are mostly the result of our own intervention: mining, deforestation, burning fuel, and altering the natural balance of the planet. Without human hands, perhaps these secrets would remain dormant in the ground, never to be awakened. And that leads to a big question. In the future, what other secrets of the Earth will we accidentally discover? And how many of them will forever remain unexplained?